Thank you very much, QuickShot. Always fun to hear from Freddie. And, well, I made QuickShot go down to the other stage because I couldn't deal with the romantic tension anymore. But it does give us a chance to break the game down from, well, from the very start, as said, kind of a lull in the middle of the game there for SK Gaming, but they played it very well in the laning phase. Very interesting to me is that you said around 2 minutes and 30. I think Giants will already have a very hard time winning this lane. Can you explain why?
Yeah, instead of going over the game, I think Defisio and Fighter did a good job in the game. So I kind of want a tunnel vision on something. People always say SK gets ahead, right? But nobody explains why. So I kind of want to just look at the laning phase from 2 to 3, and we can get that replay up on your screen already, and just explain why Forgiven and Rated win that lane. In my opinion, they should not win that lane. They get to the lane late as well. Giants should have the push advantage, which means they win level 2 first. But see, Rydell, he goes for the auto attack, cancels it, and misses his flay. Forgiven punishes him a little bit. Meanwhile, Unrated is out-trading Audrey already. And even though they were early to the laning phase, they got out-traded and out-pushed already. This will result in the fact that Forgiven and Unrated are going to hit level 2 first. Look at Audrey right now. He's using Buckshot just on creeps. In a Graves touch lane, you really want to get that auto-attack flay, auto-attack out. Use that Buckshot on the enemies and the creeps to get that push advantage. And you see right there, Rydell hooked and raided. But the beauty of Forgiven's play is once cooldowns get used, he will dash in aggressively. And we've seen that in numerous occasions. He doesn't back out because, oh no, some play is happening. He says, okay, now you used a cooldown on my support. This allows me to dash in passive-passive, Q passive-passive, and outpoke you. And we definitely saw Giants didn't understand the way to trade. Thresh has a favorable trade on Lucian if he can get a red flay stack auto into flay into auto. That pokes Lucian low. If at the same time the Graves just takes some damage and uses his buckshot on the Lulu and the creeps at the same time, they push in because they were first to lane. They had at least 5 auto attacks on creeps before the enemy, and this should guarantee you level 2. Snowball into a CS lead, favorable position, and then you can snowball from there. But it was lacking, and SK, they win lanes they shouldn't win. Yesterday, they should have lost that Annie Kalista lane. I still stand by. I've played a metric ton of Kalista games, and they should have lost that lane, but they still come out on top because they're very smart in trading. And you saw it later, Forgiven the skin of his teeth, and you know he dashed into a tower to flash out, and then they're in perfect synergy, and he's getting confident, maybe a little too confident, but he's definitely an incredibly smart player, and it shows why he's the best AD carrier in Europe by far.
Once again, indeed. SK closing it out once again. Before we go to the break, though, let's check in with you guys at home. Earlier today, we opened up our guest insight to you with the hashtag AskCrepo. And here's what you wanted to know. Our first tweet is from @JSF Chef. He asks, every Leona we've seen so far hasn't done well. Is she no longer a meta pick, or are other supports that much better? Yellowstar did do pretty well on her.
Yeah, I think Leona is very hard to play efficiently because if you make a mistake with Thresh, you'll miss your hook, you'll be fine. If you go in with Zenith Blade and you don't absolutely lock people down, or they have QSS, or they have Mikhails, you just ruined your entire engage. She's very hit or miss, and you need a lot of hits in a row to win. You know, you saw Nif catching out a lot of people with really good solar flares combined with the Rengar, but it only takes one miss to go completely wrong, and you're out of offense. So she's very hard to play. You have to decide whether you use your Q instantly or you want to go for the auto Q auto. There's a lot of fun nuances when it comes to the champion, and on the stage it just sometimes goes wrong.
Our second tweet is from @PBreezy1224. He wants to know, when playing Thresh, how do you know when to go Relic Shield and when to go Ancient Coin?
I get this question on my stream literally every hour. Summed up, you should go Relic Shield. You should always do it because it gives sustain for your AD carry. If you are really bad at lasting those creeps and you get the wrath of your AD upon you, just take coin. But if you want to be a good Thresh player, practice it, run AD runes, get that Relic Shield. Why? Because you're offering help for your AD carry, and that's what supports do. Coins for you, relics for the AD carry, and you want to basically help that guy out and win the lane together.
All right, we know now. Our next one is from our good friend TV Sky, and multiple people have attempted Lulu in the current meta, but with very mixed results. Where do you feel she fits right now? We just saw it here on Enraid, another game 1. He does love that Lulu, but we saw it in mid and top recently as well.
So I think SK uses Lulu's utility well in the sense that they can buff up and stop engages with the ultimate and just kite. But she doesn't trade that well in my opinion. She gets out-sustained by sustain, she gets out-poked by better poke, and she gets out-all-in by all-in. So I think she's not even... Yes, she's a jack of all trades, master of none. But she works because SK plays with so many threats, and all Enrated has to do is keep them alive with his Wild Growth, with the Mikhails, like Freddy said earlier. And because once Forgiven and Enrated get the push, okay, Lulu can keep poking. But if you ever get contested and you get pushed, you can no longer out-trade, and once you're on the back end of those trades, you're going to start losing the lane with Lulu, and especially when you get ganked on top of that. So I think she's a rather weak pick, but it just works because Forgiven and Enrated as a duo are outclassing the other bot lanes.
All right, and we have one last tweet from @SoasBaguette. Who do you think is the best Blitz EU West, Soaz or Soaz?
Well, Paul, I think there's a really great French Blitz crank player in Europe, and his name is Tony Carmona or Schreier. So it's not you, sadly enough. Sorry, Paul.
Thank you very much for sending in those questions. We want to keep hearing from you, so be sure to use the hashtag LCS to stay in the loop throughout the day. Now, the teams are setting up for our next match, so we'll be back in 3.5 when Gambit Gaming takes on Elements. We'll see you then.
That was
Gaming take on Giants right now. Yeah, I think he's going to. Gets the dunk off, and meanwhile,
Forgiven as well.
Forgiven. Whoa, my goodness! How did he make the outplay? Flash forward, not quite getting enough, but they do shove Rydell back. Freddy is going in, so is Svenskeren. The dunk on. Charm going to connect on Fox for just a moment, but Svenskeren has the tag team. They jump in. Frederick trying desperately to get away. Deathmark is on, and SK Gaming, 8 wins.